The Seahawks have had more players vomiting on the sidelines than Josh Allen has interceptions. That's how you know the NFL is totally fucked. Week 6 was vomit galore, a puke-orama, if you will. Cowboys fans were throwing up after watching their team get mauled by Lions, and a Lions fan proceeded to gritty right next to this poor vomiting girl. I almost projectile vomited all over my living room because I thought the 49ers were going to blow another 10-point lead on Thursday night. But we barely escaped. And the Jets just traded for Devontae Adams, and now instead of going 6-11, they'll go 8-9. Now, which may be enough to get the 7th seed in the AFC, a very top-heavy AFC, so they can get a wild card, but because it definitely will not be the Titans. That's for sure. The Titans are probably worse than the Panthers. Will Levis gave us another beautiful meme, though, as he tore the shit out of a chain guy's ACL, and it imploded on the sidelines, and he went down screaming in pain, and he got put into an air cast and brought to a hospital. Now, surprisingly, this is not the first time that this has happened. And in fact, it happened just last year with Alvin Kamara literally snapping a guy's leg in half. And he screamed in agony on the sideline. And I don't really think this is as funny as it is ironic, as much as it is ironic. And on a brighter note, the balls deep, wholesome moment of week 6 came when George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk celebrated with their wives, Claire and Kristen. Now, Kristen Juszczyk has become known for her incredibly cool puffer jackets being worn across the sports world, and Jerry Jones could have used one of those as his body went cold after the 8 heart attacks he probably had watching the Cowboys get blown the fuck out on his 82nd birthday. 1 heart attack for every 10 years of living. Happy belated birthday, Jerry. And going to a different country to get fucked in the ass is something I only thought my ex did, but I was proven wrong as the Jaguars took a royal spanking on the behind by Prince Caleb Williams as King Matt Eberflus and his pack of bears are starting to look like a real threat in the NFL. And the Raiders making Najee Harris look like he's playing a D3 college at Alabama again is almost as embarrassing as Nick Sirianni throwing chirps at his own fans after beating the 1-4 Browns. Barely beating the 1-4 Browns. And the Browns are so bad. Like, man, they're worse than the team that went 0-16, the 2017 Browns. They are worse than that team. That team didn't win a fucking game. The Browns couldn't score a touchdown if Deshaun Watson walked up to his receiver in the end zone and handed him the ball. It's hard to believe that this was a playoff team last year. Oh, actually, I found something even more embarrassing. The Cowboys getting beaten so badly that the Lions started putting offensive linemen out at wide receiver. They were throwing passes to them, throwing them laterals, hook and laterals to fucking offensive linemen. Penei Sewell almost scored a touchdown. They had fucking Dan Skipper out at wide receiver. That's terrifying. Imagine getting beaten so badly that a team is like, I don't even care anymore. I'm willing to put the guy out there that's probably going to diarrhea shit himself if he runs more than 10 yards down the field. But I'm so confident that he can run this slant on you. I've never seen something like that in my life. And I feel like I say that every episode. So yeah, this is just a reoccurring thing. I'm going to have a segment for things I've never seen before in my life. This is week 6. That's the week 6 one. Offensive lineman playing receiver. We're going to start with a Thursday game. And I usually don't cover Thursday games, but I cover every Niner game. So the rookies come up huge for the 49ers. Malik Mustafa, first pick. Renardo Green, first pick. Guerrero breaking a long run to ice the game. And honestly, I think he did slide here. If you get touched like that, you're falling forward. You're not sliding. So he definitely made up his mind as he was getting touched. But Guerrero, come on, man. You got to score there, bro. You got to score. I know you gave it to Juszczyk. You gave the touchdown to Juszczyk, which is very nice because he got to give the ball to his wife. And Renardo Green, man. I think Renardo's keeping his starting role. He's playing solid. I know Ambry is still hurt, but when he comes back, I really can't see Renardo giving up that right cornerback spot. Yadam has played well. You know, he's kind of been picked on, but, I mean, that's what's going to happen when you have Lenore and Ward on either side. The ball's going to come your way a lot more, but he's responded well for the most part. I think he's played actually really well. He could keep that starting role. Ambry is very good, but his play is just too up and down. And John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan's ability to draft mid to late round gems needs to be studied. I mean, they whiff on first round picks a lot. Mid to late round picks are just insane. Like, they're drafting Hall of Fame level players in the mid rounds. And the Niners are only getting healthier. Ricky Pearsall is back practicing, and that just adds another dimension to that offense. I mean, Pearsall is such a polished route runner. He understands the game really well. I loved him coming out of Florida. I remember watching him in 2022 thinking, man, is this guy going to go to the league? Because I would never really know. Like, everyone looks good in college. So to me, I don't really know, unless I look at rankings and stuff like that, who's really, ahead of the curve, who has a gap between most college players and NFL level players. I had this dream last night that McCaffrey retired, like, out of nowhere. That scared the shit out of me. If that fucking happens, you won't ever see me again. So, but speaking of CMC, he is eyeing a November return, and he makes the run and pass games so much more dynamic. Like, it's easy to score points with this offense already because we have so many great weapons, but McCaffrey just, like, adds this, I don't want to say unstoppable, but it's like, you put him, he could do anything on the ground and anything in the pass. Like, it just adds this level of this dimension of this offense when you get him into the choice routes, giving Purdy that security blanket, if you want to call it, even though Purdy's been pushing the ball downfield like nobody's business. I mean, he's been pushing the ball downfield more than any quarterback. He has the least amount of yak of any quarterback. It'll be huge if he can come back. Dre coming back. Hafunga will eventually be back. Yator, Feliciano. We're going to be deep after the bye week. If we can come out of these next two games without a scrap on us, I mean, we're going to be dangerous after week 9. Week 9 is our bye. Man, I mean, Sam O and Evan Anderson, diamonds in the rough too. Sam O has been balling. Evan Anderson earned a 93.3 PFF grade against Seattle and has a 91.8 grade on the season. He played against New England and Seattle, and he got a sack in the New England game, despite a little bit of a slow start. 228 rushing yards was the most since 2019 when Carolina wanted all that smoke. If you know, you know. We're going to get going down the stretch, and I'm excited. Jags and Bears. The Jags suck. They suck so bad. Like, they're just... I mean, the last time a Bears quarterback threw for 4 touchdowns in a game was last year, besides last week. It was last year. In fact, Justin Fields did it twice. I mean, this is history for the Bears. They are finally in a good spot to win for the next 15 years. Like, you really couldn't ever say that about the Bears. Maybe, everyone, when it was 85, they were thinking, oh, we'll just have this defense forever. No. Defense is like the last thing that you can recreate. If you win a Super Bowl or win playoff games with solely defense, like your defense is that good, maybe besides Pittsburgh and Baltimore. The Ravens did it for a decade. Steelers have been doing it ever since really Tomlin was there, really ever since Bill Cowher was there. And to win a Super Bowl solely on defense, kind of like Denver did in 2015, you can't recreate that. Cole Kmet looked like prime Rob Gronkowski. DeAndre Swift has been consistently finding room to run. And even Keenan Allen and his bald head got into the end zone. And Ryan Poles, very, very underrated GM. He's been very good at drafting ever since he came in 2022. Guys like Tyreek Stevenson, Javon Dexter, Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, and of course, most recently, Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. They've all been huge pieces to this Bears rebuild. Hopefully a run at long-term success and hopefully a Super Bowl. I like Caleb a lot. And the Jags are officially part of the trash of the NFL. All the Peacock games, $15 beers, taunting penalties, Cowboys in prime time, 49ers with a 10-point lead, all sound better than watching the Jags go out and play football. It's not even football at this point. It's like sarcastic. Ravens, Commanders. Lamar Jackson passed Cam Newton for the second most rushing yards by a quarterback all time in NFL history, and the Ravens look really good on a 4-game win streak, man. They look like the best team in the AFC right now, maybe in the NFL. I mean, the run game is on fire. They have the most rushing yards by a quarterback running back duo through the first 6 games in NFL history, and they're gonna break the record, whatever the record is. I don't know what it is. It might be Ingram and Lamar from 5 years ago, but I don't know. But they're gonna break it by a year's end. They're gonna have the most by a duo in a season. 30-year-old Derrick Henry has scored a touchdown in every game this season. Unk scoring. He got to be on something. Unk got to be off that perk 30. How the fuck is Unk still balling? Holy shit, gang. Unk is off that Percocet. And Zay Flowers had a career game going for $132 on 9 catches. And Mark Andrews, by the grace of God, scored a fucking touchdown. goddamn. Ravens' run defense is insane. Nobody can run on them, man. They have allowed only an average of 59 rushing yards per game. That is the most by 10 yards, I think, and 3 yards per rush, both which lead the NFL by a mile. This is like a historically good defense and run defense, and that's saying a lot for the Ravens. You know, the Commanders came up short. They played well. They're proving that they are a top team in the league despite the loss. I mean, when you can come within 7 in Baltimore, that's saying a lot. That's very impressive. And there's no such thing as a good loss in the NFL, but if there was, this would be it. You know, you lose Jonathan Allen for the year. That's tough. That is a very big loss to your interior. I mean, the Ravens are just good. You know, they're a very, very good team. Everything is clicking for them right now when it didn't for the first 2 weeks. But the Commanders will be fine. They'll be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that. I really did not think. I mean, it's not to say that I didn't think they'd have a chance, but it's very rare. It's like this year's Texans, like D'Amico and CJ last year, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. I mean, Dan Quinn has been a head coach before, but it's a new team. It's rare, but it's when it clicks, when good things happen, it's very fun to watch. And everyone roots for you too. Cards, Packers. I think this was the Green Bay we were waiting to see and we thought we'd see to start the year, and it wasn't as smooth as we thought. Jordan Love threw 4 touchdowns with not one receiver going over 70 yards. Now, there's many ways you can break that down. The way I look at that is everyone is contributing because Matt LaFleur is a great play caller and a situational head coach. And Jordan Love does not care who he throws the ball to, and nobody is selfish in that wide receiver room. So, you know, one day it could be Jaden Reed, the next it could be Dobbs, then Kraft or Jacobs could have a big game. You know, everybody's getting the ball in this offense, and that's how they want it. 9 people caught passes for Green Bay, and if you can ask LaFleur, if you could ask him how he'd want every game to go, it's probably like that. I feel like a lot of times where you look at this kind of offense with Shanahan and, you know, LaFleur, those kind of offenses where one guy is the guy on a certain day, it doesn't work. Like Jennings just had 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. They lost. And I know there's a lot more to that, but there's a game where Kittle in 19 had 15 catches or so, something crazy, like 13 against Atlanta, and they lost. A 15-catch game against Philly in 2020, they lost that game. 9 catches, 181, 2 touchdowns against Seattle in 21, they lost. And it doesn't always mean that if one guy goes off, you're going to lose or that the offense is doing bad. It's not what I'm saying, but I found that usually I've noticed in these kind of offenses like Shanahan, LaFleur, McVay, it's more efficient when 8 different guys, 7, 9 different guys have 3, 4 catches than one guy getting all the targets, because that means you're spreading the ball around and things are working. You're getting into a groove. You know, you're getting the ball into all your playmakers' hands. Jordan Love is getting hot. Packers are getting hot. I think he might be one of the best throwers that doesn't get talked about a lot. Short, middle, deep. He throws a beautiful ball. Always on time, too, just in rhythm. He never seems like he's throwing off balance or trying to. I mean, he does kind of throw off balance a little bit, but that's kind of his style. He got that from Rodgers, but he really doesn't ever seem like he's flustered. He never, ever looks like he's in panic mode. And Cards, I think, are just not very talented. Scheme helps a lot, but it can only do so much. And, of course, you know, it worked against the Niners, but they're just not very deep or an experienced roster. So I think soon, though, maybe, even as soon as next year, they can be a real threat. But it's just going to take some gelling. It's a very young team still. Texans and Patriots. Now, the debut for Drake May was bittersweet as he tossed 3 touchdown passes, but that was about the only thing that was good about that game for the Patriots. Pats had under 300 yards of total offense. What a surprise. Went 3 for 13 on 3rd down, allowed 4 sacks, and had 4 turnovers and 9 penalties. I think a genuinely positive thing, though, that you can take away from this is that Drake May can throw 3 touchdowns despite having 4 turnovers as an offense. No running game, no defense. And I think you have found someone who, at the very least, won't make things worse in a bad situation, in an already bad situation. Stroud and Houston moved to 5-1 after an all-around dominant performance, and Nico Collins going down actually seemed to lift this offense, ironically enough. Tank Dell had his best game of the season. Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon found the end zone. Mixon averaged 7.8 yards a carry. Pierce, 9.5. Incredible stuff. And now that both of their top running backs are fully healthy, This could be a whole new offense that we really haven't seen yet. I mean, kind of like the one we saw week 1, which was their best performance outside of this one. And that was the last time, coincidentally enough, that Mixon and Pierce were both healthy. I think Pierce, he had a down year last year, but he had a great rookie season, man. And he looked like a future all-pro. Like, he reminded me of like Marshawn Lynch. And I made a video about him, but he kind of just fell off the face of the earth. I hope that he stays involved in the offense because he really is that talented. I think he was just dealing with some injuries. Browns and Eagles. And, if you wanted somebody to not watch football, like if you wanted them to hate the game of football, show them this game. Deshaun Watson and the Browns offense, it's almost so bad, it's impressive. They failed to score a touchdown, and it seems like that's the case every week. They scored a touchdown on a blocked field goal. Deshaun Watson almost threw an interception to 2 different Eagles players on the same play. And I think that was the play that Amari Cooper realized he needed to get the fuck out of Cleveland. And that he did, as he was traded to the Bills a day later, 2 days later, on Tuesday. Now, a struggling Browns offense losing their best player may seem like a recipe for a disaster. But, actually, yes, it is. I was going to try and spin it around, and say something positive, but no, it's a complete recipe for disaster. Pile of garbage on fire. They were already a pile of garbage. Now they're going to be on fire. And like I said, it's bad when you can look back at a team that was 0-16 and say you'd rather have that than what the Browns are putting on tape this season, whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know what time. It's not football. It's not football. Reminiscing about a time where you won 4 games over a span of 3 years is the most Browns thing ever. And adding an S to Brown there eliminates any potential of mistaking that for a racist comment. Remember when we won 4 games in 3 years? Those were the times, man. God, nostalgia. Take me back to the Hugh Jackson days, the Sean Kaiser. God, I miss that. Those are what Browns fans are saying right now. I mean, now the Browns are like, they're stuck. They're completely fucked. I don't even want to think about worst trade in NFL history. Just the worst. This is so bad. It makes me sick to my stomach. And Nick Sirianni talking shit to his own fans is the most Philadelphia thing I've ever seen. And not only are the Eagles not very good, but Jalen Hurts seems like he forgot how to play quarterback. Yeah, the offense just seems broken. Hurts and the offense really miss Shane Steichen, as he was the play caller during their Super Bowl year just 2 years ago, and Sirianni's offense looks like a broken version of that. I truly think that Jalen Hurts is a good player. You don't bring your team to the Super Bowl and be the MVP runner-up if you're not a dynamic player. And he is a good quarterback, a good leader. He has everything that you want in a franchise guy. I just think that he may not have the right coach. They have too many talented names, too many good players. There are plenty of coaches, plenty of teams that do more with less. Chargers, Broncos, Bo Nix, BDN, Big Dick Nix, getting out of the sack and showing his elite athleticism is impressive, but unfortunately, he hasn't been able to shake the innate pile of shit that is the Broncos running game. That was the best running play for the Broncos in that game. Now, the Chargers led 20-0 at halftime after Jim Harbaugh took a little break to go to the locker room to take the Limitless pill. But the Bradley Cooper pill wore off, and the Chargers proceeded to do next to nothing in the second half. I really wonder what happened with Jim Harbaugh when he got into the locker room. He said that he was dealing with something. I forgot what the diagnosis was, but with all the vomiting that was going on this week, I just presumed that he was projectile vomiting. He just had to get it out before he started the game, kind of like Josh Allen does every game. So there it is. 4 people we know for sure threw up in week 6. I almost did too, so that's almost 5. All right, we're getting off track. Broncos, Chargers. And as the Chargers watched Big Dick Nix throw his big dick passes all over the field, including an insane touchdown to Cortland Sutton, and Chargers fans were like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Are we going to Charger this thing up again? Are we going to blow this? Are we going to blow it, like a freshman at UCLA, like we always do? And not this time, man. Please. But the answer was no. They would not blow it. Close but no cigar for Denver as they fell short in the end. A very good effort, though, in the second half. Very promising. I don't know what to make of the Broncos right now, but I can tell that they're moving in the right direction. Steelers or Raiders, holy shit, I have not seen Najee Harris run like that since Bama. He was running over guys, making guys miss. He made the black hole look like the golden gates of heaven. And as for Justin Fields, he's in hell. The Steelers sent him to hell. In fact, actually, they sent him to purgatory. After a 4-2 start, 10 total touchdowns, and one interception, the Steelers opted to bench Justin Fields in favor of Russell Wilson. For what reason? God knows what. If you can give me a week, you can give me a year, I would not be able to come up with a reason on why they're doing this. 1 week, though, is how long Fields will be on the bench for before he gets his job back. You know, a coach like Mike Tomlin with a quarterback like Russell Wilson just doesn't look like it would work to me. The Raiders had Max Crosby on the sideline shoving his own coaches, not out of hatred, but out of love. It was a love shove, according to Crosby. And now that Adams is gone, I wouldn't be shocked if Crosby goes too. You know, I doubt that the Raiders would want to trade him, but it's not impossible. They said that they wouldn't trade Adams at one point, I'm sure. And look what happened. And now the Raiders are going to turn to Brock Bowers to make big-time plays for them from here on out. And, you know, Aiden O'Connell and Bowers is a poor man's Brady and Gronk, and I'll take that any day of the week. Lions and Cowboys. Well, sad birthday, Jerry. You know, after this beatdown, which was the worst Cowboys home loss since 1988, Jerry Jones went off on a Dallas radio host for asking him questions about the team. This is a new low for the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's fair to say Jerry Jones has brought unwanted or unnecessary attention to himself and the team before. You know, he is one of the most involved and passionate owners, but sometimes that can turn ugly like it did this week. Dallas is just a bad football team. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Since they're one of the most popular sports franchises in America, the NFL will continue to put them on nationally televised games. I believe Jerry hurts the Cowboys more than he helps them. You can talk about all the good things he's done as an owner, and he has done good things, but over the last decade, media has only gotten more prominent, and Jerry has put only a bigger target on the Cowboys as the years went on. I think this really started in 2007 when, you know, Dallas had those high hopes with Romo. They lost in the divisional to the Giants. And, you know, that's when Twitter started picking up, Facebook. You're kind of getting more media attention out there, articles being written online. And then 2014 comes, and then another year where Dallas has really big expectations and they fall short. I think ever since 2014, it's been the Cowboys have been under a microscope like they haven't been in since the 90s, but that's when they were good. You know, that's when they wanted to be in the microscope and things were different. People didn't give a fuck. You know, they were animals. They were doing fucking cocaine off strippers' asses, whatever the fuck. And, you know, that was just showbiz. The Lions scored 40 points back-to-back weeks for the first time since 1962, and everyone showed up in this game, man. Montgomery, Gibbs, St. Brown, J-Mo, Laporta, Brian Branch had his best game of his career. And unfortunately, you lose Hutch for the year. That sucks. I hate to see that. It's a huge loss. You know, he was having a defensive player of the year type of season. They still should be very, very good. They're good everywhere, really. They're competent. They have an identity. Everything that the Cowboys aren't and weren't in that game. The Cowboys are the complete opposite of that, and that's why it was as bad as it was. Dallas is CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, and if that doesn't work, good luck. They have nothing outside of that. You just imagine if CeeDee and Micah, two guys, were gone for 4 games. And lastly, Bills and Jets. The Cowboys hit a new low, and so has NFL officiating. 22 penalties for 204 yards is insane. It's insanity. That wasn't even a football game. That was a surrendering. That was a laundry parade. I mean, you know what's even crazier? The refs weren't even the worst part of that game. Greg, my leg is made of pudding Zerline, couldn't even make a kick worth a shit as he missed 2 big-time kicks, one from only the distance of an extra point of 32 yards. I heard that the gust of winds that caused Zerline to miss his kicks was actually the ghost of Robert Saleh. Now, Saleh isn't dead, but if he was, he'd be having a better time than he did trying to explain to Zach Wilson that he's not supposed to throw the ball to the other team. Both teams were so disgusted with themselves that they both said fuck this and traded for a wide receiver the day after. But the elephant in the room now is Davante Adams. Now, Adams, no doubt, should make this offense better, but They need to protect Aaron Rodgers more than anything. Their remaining schedule is not that hard. Only 3 of their next 11 opponents have winning records as of right now, and one of them is the Bills. And Rodgers and Adams' connection with each other is the difference. They know each other so well, the growing pains won't be there. They're going to be on the same page. I don't want to say right away, but 2 games in, they're going to be like they're back in Green Bay again. And I don't know what that means for the offense as a whole. I don't know if it's Adams becomes the guy and he's getting all the targets and Garrett Wilson becomes an afterthought. I don't think that would happen. In fact, I think that would hurt them more than it would help them. I think it's going to be Adams is the number 1, but Garrett Wilson is still going to be a huge part of this offense. I think Breece Hall is going to get better. He had probably his best game of the season. They need that running game too, especially with Aaron being older, and we've seen him get banged up multiple times this season. That's all I got for today. Thank you for watching another episode of Balls Deep. You know how it is, man. I'm from New Jersey. Baba Booey, Gabagool, Bada Bing, Tony Soprano, Christopher Moltisanti. I don't got to pump my own gas, baby. Let's go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Follow the Deep Ball on Instagram. Love ya. Bye.